You're watching Good Morning Suncoast at 5.
Right now, we are keeping a close eye on Hurricane Michael's path as it continues to strengthen and head toward Florida's panhandle.
Plus, back here on the Suncoast, what Manatee County is doing to help residents who could be impacted by heavy winds and rain from that storm.
And what the city of Sarasota is doing to protect Lido Key Beach during Hurricane Michael. Good Morning Suncoast starts right now. And good morning, early risers. Glad you're with us. It is Tuesday, October the 9th. I'm Ray Collins.
And I'm Jess Dowdrick. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's start right now with Chief Meteorologist John Scalzi. John,
not quite.
What does the storm look like?
We're looking at some kind of changing conditions a little bit in the structure of the storm, in that we have a little bit more of an explosion of shower and thunderstorm activity on the western edge of the circulation. Also, the eye wall has expanded a little bit, but it's still a Category 1 storm. And the latest information from the Hurricane Center just came in about 30 seconds ago. So I'll be looking at this along with you really for the first time. It's continuing on a trajectory that takes it north or a little west of north over the course of the next probably 36 hours. And it's still a good distance from us, almost 300 miles. So the effect of this storm on us is really thankfully going to be rather minimal compared to what they're going to experience in the Panhandle. There's no change in that philosophy. Forecast track remains the same. But look at this explosion of thunderstorms that's occurring around the center of circulation of this storm. If I color enhance the satellite view, you can see these brightest reds are really towering thunderstorms. And when you see this sort of thing, it usually spells intensification. Though the latest information from the Hurricane Center keeps the system at a 90-mile-an-hour storm, which means that it's still a Category 1 storm. It needs to go up another 6 miles per hour before it becomes a Category 2. But there's no reason to think that it won't be doing that over the course of today. And the reason is it's moving into an area of very warm water, and the upper-level winds that have been hostile to this storm will start to relax a little bit. Now, one interesting thing is that this storm system seems to have been energizing itself with central pressures dropping and explosions of thunderstorms all around it over the course of the night in an area of very strong wind shear. Upper level winds that generally would tear a storm apart, but it's defying traditional thinking and it's continuing to intensify. So there's no reason to think that it won't continue to do so as it lifts north. Today should be a day very similar to the last few days that we have had, in that it'll be kind of cloudy. We'll have periods of showers and thunderstorms later in the day. Tomorrow, as it makes its closest pass by us, starting late tonight into the early hours of tomorrow morning into Wednesday, that's when we will see the greatest effects, and we will talk about those coming up in just a few.
All right, good idea. Thank you, John. Talk to you again soon. Time now for First Alert Traffic. We begin with our roving camera out there at University Parkway and 301 looking westbound. Those cars are all queued up to cross over 301 to head toward the Ringling Museum in that direction, that is. We'll check back on conditions there in about 15 minutes. But now let's go to the maps. Here's a scene first off in Manatee County. See some buildup there on State Road 64, including around downtown Bradenton. Farther south, you'll see State Road 70, some congestion there as you head toward I-75. Not much to speak of. Little blip there out there on St. Armand's Circle for some reason. Early for that already, folks looking for parking. And then farther south, there's the scene, South County. There is a icon there on I-75 near Northport. We'll click on that and find out there's some debris in the road at Toledo Blade Boulevard in the southern edge of Sarasota County. Otherwise, not much to speak of at 5:03 on your Tuesday morning.
As Hurricane Michael barrels down the northeast Gulf Coast of the state, preparations are underway for the potentially deadly hurricane. Although there is no severe threat here on the Suncoast, a storm surge watch is currently still in effect for Bradenton and Anna Maria Island.
So today, Manatee County will help residents along the coast brace for potential flooding. Marla Spence has details. Marla.
Handing out sandbags is what Manatee County is doing to help with preparations. The Manatee County Emergency Management Chief says Hurricane Michael has the potential to produce up to 4 feet in storm surge. Now, before the rain starts to fall, Manatee County workers will be set up at several locations to help homeowners keep their houses safe from storm surge. As of yesterday, a tropical storm and storm surge watch was put into effect for parts of Manatee County as Hurricane Michael makes his way to the Gulf. Now, this morning, Manatee County will be offering those sandbags to residents at 3 locations. Now, here is a breakdown. They'll be handed out and you'll be able to pick them up at GT Bray Park on 33rd Avenue, Bennett Park on Cypress Creek Boulevard, and the Bradenton Area Convention Center on Haven Boulevard. Now, residents will be allowed to fill up to 10 bags for their households, and in order to pick up sandbags, Manatee County residents are required to show ID. Now, homeowners can pick up those sandbags starting at 8 o'clock this morning. The county will be working pretty much all day to hand out those sandbags. They'll be at all 3 locations until 7 tonight. Jess?
Thank you so much, Marla. A lot of helpful information there that you're sharing. Now, Governor Scott has asked President Trump to declare a pre-landfall emergency for Florida in preparation for the storm. This declaration will provide important resources for the federal government, as well as free up funding sources for emergency protective measures. The pre-landfall declaration request is for 35 Florida counties, including Manatee, Pinellas, and Hillsborough counties. All government offices in those counties will be closed today through Thursday. Happening today, Florida State University has canceled all classes for the week due to Hurricane Michael. And New College of Florida, which sits along the Sarasota Bayfront, is currently monitoring the storm just in case they have to do the same. As of now, all classes there will go on as planned, as well as all public schools in both Manatee and Sarasota counties.
Also happening today, Governor Rick Scott will be visiting the State Emergency Operations Center in Tallahassee. You get an update on Hurricane Michael. That'll take place this morning at 8 o'clock in North Florida.
We're in the midst of hurricane season. If you haven't prepared yet, make sure you do so now. On our website, mysuncoast.com, under the Weather and Hurricane Center tab, you'll find a link to our 1-hour hurricane special. You will also have access to our printable hurricane guide.
Brett Kavanaugh was sworn in last night at the White House, and he'll have his first day on the job today at the U.S. Supreme Court. As ABC's Stephanie Ramos tells us, President Trump apologized to Kavanaugh for what he went through during the confirmation process.
Justice Brett Kavanaugh is now officially on the Supreme Court bench.
I, Brett M. Kavanaugh, do solemnly swear.
During the ceremonial swearing in at the White House, President Trump taking a victory lap while apologizing to Kavanaugh.
On behalf of our nation, I want to apologize to Brett and the entire Kavanaugh family for the terrible pain and suffering you have been forced to endure.
The president also lashing out at those who opposed his nominee.
It was a disgraceful situation brought about by people that are evil.
It's unclear whether Trump was referring to Kavanaugh's accusers, Senate Democrats, or others. The president even claiming that Kavanaugh was proven innocent of the sexual assault allegations made against him by Christine Blasey Ford and several other women. But there was no trial. Kavanaugh has repeatedly denied all allegations and was eventually confirmed Saturday by the narrowest margin for a Supreme Court justice in more than 130 years. During the ceremonial swearing in, as all of the Supreme Court justices looked on, Kavanaugh said he was harboring no bitterness and vowed to approach the job fairly.
The Supreme Court is an institution of law. The justices do not sit on opposite sides of an aisle. We do not caucus in separate rooms. The Supreme Court is a team of 9, and I will always be a team player on the team of 9.
House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi says she will file a Freedom of Information Act request for the FBI record on Kavanaugh. She says she wants the public to see the FBI report and the instructions from the White House regarding the scope of the investigation. Stephanie Ramos, ABC News, Washington.
Happening today, we may learn more about the future of River Road in Venice. During a meeting today, county commissioners are expected to consider a budget agreement with FDOT. FDOT is taking over River Road from I-75 to US 41. The goal is to eventually turn the 2-lane road into a 4- to 6-lane road. Officials say they hope to start a series of improvements on the roadway beginning in 2020.
And a Sarasota family is sharing a frightening video. They say somebody was trying to break in their home while they were sleeping. It happened in the Bent Tree neighborhood out Bee Ridge Road east of the interstate. Look at this woman carrying a backpack caught on surveillance outside their door in the early morning hours. She looked through their window before eventually she turns and walks away. The community association says this is not the first time it's happened, and neighbors don't like this one bit.
Because I got two kids. I got a 15-year-old and a 16-year-old, you know, and yeah, I worry about that because people coming around, you can't see them at night.
I moved here because it is quiet. And that's one reason I'm thinking about a security system outside.
Well, the Homeowners Association is now working closely with the Sheriff's Office and has hired a private security firm to help identify this person. Very creepy. Still ahead of Good Morning Suncoast, saving money on your car. We'll have some tips on how you can save some costs.
And coming up a little later in the hour, Facebook is changing the game for technology. The feature they are adding right in your home.
It is 5:10 right now on your Tuesday morning. A peek outside shows very peaceful conditions, but that might be changing later on today, John Scalzi.
Well, much later today, but particularly tomorrow, I think we'll have a better chance of seeing some rain showers around. You can see the storms that are kind of surrounding the circulation of Michael. For us today, I think it'll be a lot like yesterday. We'll get some scattered showers through here, about a 30 to 40% chance of rain. We'll talk about tomorrow's forecast coming up in just a few.
We believe in patriotism. We believe in our nation's youth. We believe veterans earn their benefits through their service to our nation. We believe in a strong national security. We believe in our country. For 100 years, veterans have been impacting our nation through the American Legion, and we believe it makes a difference. If you believe, learn more at legion.org/webelieve.
Your last chance for 2018 Honda Accords on sale is now during our model year-end sale. Drive new Accords for just $249 a month. Get an Accord, the North American Car of the Year, for less than the competition. With more standard features than Camry, Honda Sensing, multi-angle camera, turbocharged engine, and more. New Accords, just $249 a month. Your last chance for Accords, all on sale this week at your local Honda dealer.
Find out who cooks the best collard greens on the Suncoast.
Join ABC7 and the Newtown Farmers Market for Big Mama's Collard Greens Fest, Saturday, October 20th at Robert L. Taylor Community Center. Enjoy this flavor-filled family event for an assortment of food, live entertainment, and fun activities for people of all ages.
You don't want to miss the 3rd annual Big Mama's Collard Green Fest.
Go to newtownnation.com for more information on the festival and Newtown Farmers Market.
For more than 100 years, American Humane Association has been teaching kids to be kind to animals. Those in our homes, on the farms, on the silver screen, and wildlife conservation, caring for the world's vanishing creatures. But we can't do it alone. Visit kindness100.org to find ways to teach kids how they can make a more caring, compassionate, and humane world for all of us.
Once you get atrial fibrillation, you need to have a very close relationship with your primary doctor. Prevention is the whole ball game here, because once you have a stroke, you can't undo it. A year without stroke, it's a year that you can enjoy doing the things that you've worked all your life to finally get to do. You took care of yourself. You did what is necessary for you to be around one more year. And then next year, we'll celebrate one more year without a stroke.
I witnessed him have 2 heart attacks in ICU. He went through seizures.
We'd much rather have Aaron like this than dead. A lot of parents don't have that luxury.
He can't talk. He can't walk. This is a condition Aaron will live with for the rest of his life because he abused prescription pills.
Mind your meds. Learn more from the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
Now your ABC7 First Alert weather forecast with meteorologist John Scalzi.
Yeah, this morning starting off a lot like yesterday. We have some cloud cover out there. We have a temperature coming in at 76 degrees and an east wind blowing briskly at 13. We'll see that wind speed elevated a little bit today, but it won't be too bad. Tomorrow, I think the wind speeds will rapidly increase and be kind of breezy, windy, and, you know, the winds might actually even howl a little bit right along the immediate coastline. So we're looking at quiet conditions through the morning hour. Morning rush should be A-OK for your commute. Don't see any problems here as we go into the day tomorrow, or this afternoon. We'll start to see a chance of rainfall start to pick up a little bit. 20 to 30% chance as we head into the afternoon of a scattered shower, thunderstorm, particularly this evening, I think. So there's our storm. It's looking pretty healthy at this hour, though hurricane reconnaissance aircraft flying into it have found that it might be a little bit more disorganized right around the eye wall, which is interesting. We'll talk about that in just a moment. All the computer models, again, continue to show a landfall up around the Big Bend region back toward the Florida Panhandle, with areas around Panama City, Destin, areas around Cape San Blas being a prime location for perhaps a Category 3 landfall. There's a jet flying out here now to kind of sample the environmental conditions all around the storm, so that'll give even a better handle on the eventual landfall location, I think, as we head into the next 24. So the latest statistics from Michael show it's still remaining a Category 1 storm, strong Category 1 storm with 90-mile-an-hour winds. Uptick at about 6 miles, and we'll have a Category 2 storm, and that's likely to happen a little bit later on today. There's another aircraft en route to investigate and see whether or not it's starting into a strengthening phase once again. Lots of thunderstorm activity around it, banding features becoming visible, so that is a good indication of a strengthening storm, but the eye wall looks a little bit more ragged right now. Nevertheless, we're still looking at a landfall probably tomorrow afternoon or evening right along the north coast of the Florida Panhandle. For us, the nearest pass-by will probably be tomorrow morning into tomorrow afternoon, so we'll be watching that one pretty carefully. And then it rapidly moves, gaining forward speed, moves off the coast Friday of the Carolinas, producing some pretty gusty winds up there as well. Tropical storm warnings have just been issued for that area. There's the rain showers. I think a lot of this heaviest rain is going to remain off our coastline. Nevertheless, tomorrow we have a better chance, probably about an 80-90% chance of seeing some of those storms move in here. And we do have a slight risk of severe weather with some of these storms coming on shore. Right now, everything is quiet. As I said, your morning commute A-OK. Watch the Futurecast, put it into motion. You'll see the storm lifting northward and some of these outer bands kind of pushing by us tomorrow. And because of the speed of those storms moving through, there is a potential and isolated risk for some tornadic activity with these storms. That's always true. And the Severe Storm Prediction Center puts us in a marginal risk for severe storms. That's the lowest risk that they give for the potential of severe weather. To the north of us, the risk is a little bit higher, but still, we'll be watching it very carefully. You can see that area right there, the transitions from regular thunderstorms to the potential of some severe weather. As far as wind speeds go, the latest forecasts indicate that our chances of tropical storm force winds has decreased somewhat. We're now in the zone here that puts us in about a 20% chance of seeing tropical storm force winds. So I think that we'll probably see winds tomorrow in the 25 to 30 mile an hour range right along the immediate coastline, not nearly that strong inland. And maybe some gusts up to 35 or 40 miles an hour. Certainly can't rule that out. So tomorrow morning into the afternoon, I think the winds will be howling along the coastline. You can see that for today, a 20 mile an hour wind is certainly possible, and none of the watches or warnings for our area for our area have changed, and we still have a small craft advisory up, rip current advisory up. We still have a high surf advisory up and a tropical storm watch, as well as a storm surge watch for Tampa Bay and north-facing shores of Manatee County. There could be a 2 to 4 foot storm surge due to onshore winds. The storm surge is a very tricky thing, and you probably won't get a better handle on it until we see just how strong this storm is going to be. East winds, southeast winds increasing to 20 to 25 knots this evening, perhaps 30 overnight on those open waters, gusts to 40. Obviously, terrible weather to be considering boating. As far as the forecast goes, look for about a 60% chance of late day showers today. Tomorrow, about a 70% chance. And then as we head into the week ahead, we'll start to decrease those rain chances over the weekend. Actually dry out a little bit. Back to you.
All right. Thank you so much, John. Taking a look at first alert traffic this morning. We start in Manatee County. Things overall seem to be running smoothly at this point in time. There's a little bit of a slowdown on US 301 in the Samoset area. As we head south into Sarasota County, things are still running smoothly there as well. I-75, 301, 41, all clear at this point in time. And we head south to South County, and there is still debris on the road on I-75. So if you are traveling the interstate today, make sure you look out for that. It's near exit 179, the Toledo Blade Boulevard exit. Now, for most of us, having a car is a necessity, one that is not only a major purchase, but one that can keep draining your bank account throughout its lifetime. In today's Consumer Watch, Mary Maloney shares 5 simple things you can do right now to save on car costs.
Insurance, gas, oil changes, and repairs. Some of the many car costs that can drain your wallet. But there are ways to keep your car's demands at a minimum. One tip, take a defensive driving course. Safe and careful drivers are cheaper to insure. According to AARP, taking a driver's ed class could save you up to $200 annually with your insurance company. Another idea from AARP, use cruise control. It can reduce highway fuel usage by 7%. Depending on how you drive and how far, you could save as much as $70 per year. Tip 3, be smart about gas. Gassing up likely eats up much of your car budget, so find the cheapest prices in your area by downloading apps like Gas Buddy or Waze. And several grocery stores or credit cards offer loyalty points that can be used at gas stations. Tip 4, keep your tires properly inflated. The EPA says driving with properly inflated tires can improve your gas mileage up to 3%. And the final tip, take good care of your car. That means keeping up with regular oil changes, air filter replacements, and even something as simple as new wiper blades can keep those engines revving longer. For Consumer Watch, I'm Mary Maloney.
So do you stop and look for cheap gas, or just stop wherever you can?
I don't usually, yeah. If I'm on my way from my house to work, wherever's on the way and convenient and fits into the schedule.
There's a
What about
station.
you?
There's certain places I think have lower prices, and I usually head toward those.
Oh, okay, so we're opposites in that.
I'll give you some tips. All right.
All right, still ahead on Good Morning Suncoast, why farmers are now using facial recognition.
Also ahead, as Hurricane Michael now churns in the Gulf, what might this do for local red tide concerns? Also, what the city is doing about Lido Key Beach and sandbags. It's 5:22.
Blue 32, Blue 32, hot, hot. It's the Gettle Gridiron Challenge. The game's on to sell 2,000 vehicles. 12 teams compete for the #1 spot. Score a great deal at every Gettle dealership. Buy with 0 down. Make no payments for 90 days. Choose from 14 of your favorite brands, all on sale. Who will make it to the end zone? You decide. Rush to a Gettle location near you or visit Gettle.com.
Gettle's got it.
Here's something we bet you didn't know. Nearly half of all cancers can be prevented. That's right, half. Nearly 50%, mostly by making small everyday changes in your diet and controlling your weight, walking more, eating less, and eating foods that help you and your family to seriously reduce the risk of cancer. And of course, by not smoking. Visit the Cancer Prevention Together We Can website and get a free 30-day planner filled with tips, recipes, stats, and more about protecting your family. Go to prevent50.org.
This is your brain. This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
Yeah, I have questions.
Prescription drugs aren't as bad as street drugs, right?
Weed's legal, isn't it?
Drinking is worse than smoking weed.
Isn't it? Why
is heroin so addictive?
Molly just makes you feel happy.
I have questions.
Mom?
Dad, did you ever try drugs?
They're going to ask. Be ready. Go to drugfree.org. A message from Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
Every child follows a path in life. For many, that path will lead them to a door that gives them a place to grow, to learn, to belong, a place to forge their future. Because while many doors open, these doors transform. They did for us. Support your local Boys and Girls Clubs. Great futures start here.
Stay connected to your clients and new customers using ABC7 Digital Media Services. Our team of professionals provide a wide array of digital services to help you get the most out of your website. We specialize in building and helping you maintain the most effective digital solutions for your business. It's vital that your online presence stands out, so our experts will equip you with the best resources available. Trust ABC7 Digital Media Services to give you the right tools to grow your business.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate, and it's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
Google's social network has been shut down as the company faces criticism over a security lapse.
Details in today's Tech Bites.
In today's Tech Bites, the end of Google+.
Google closed down the social network amid criticism that it covered up a security lapse for more than 6 months. The breach reportedly exposed up to 500,000 people's personal data. Google says there's no evidence of any of the personal data being misused. And Facebook has added new hardware to improve video calls. The portal uses an AI-controlled camera to reframe the picture. The tablet-like device allows users to move around a room during messenger calls without readjusting the camera. It costs $200.
And facial recognition is no longer just for humans.
Norwegian farmers are using the technology to track their salmon. Each fish will have a medical record that's tracked over time in order to single out a fish that poses a threat to others. Farmers also hope to use it for cows.
So those criminal cows, be on the lookout. Those are your Tech Bites.
Tech Bites, sponsored by Safelite Auto Glass.
So you think this chip is nothing to worry about? Well, at Safelite, we know sooner or later, every chip will crack. These friends were on a trip when their windshield got chipped. So they scheduled at Safelite.com. They didn't have to change their plans or worry about a thing. I'll see you in a little bit. And I fixed it right away with a strong repair they can trust. Plus, with most insurance, a Safelite repair is no cost to you. Really? Being there whenever you need us, that's another Safelite advantage.
Safelite Repair, Safelite Replace.
We all want white teeth. You know, doc, how can I get whiter, brighter teeth? And the dentist really has to say, let's take a step back and talk about protecting your enamel. It's important to look after your enamel because it's the foundation for white teeth. I believe dentists will recommend Pronamel Strong and Bright because it's twofold. It strengthens your enamel, but then also it polishes away stains for whiter teeth. So it's really something that's a win-win for both the patient and the dentist.
There was this big bruise on my friend's face. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to think her own nephew could have hit her.
I didn't want to see it. My mother's bank account was emptied, and a caregiver had taken control of it.
I didn't want to see it. My father's refrigerator, there was hardly anything in it. That's unusual for him.
It's tough to see that a senior citizen is being abused, physically, emotionally, sexually, or financially. Elder abuse is a crime.
So see the signs, stop the crimes.
That is a pretty good breakfast. You're not even eating.
Not hungry.
No? Why not? What's up?
Kath and I knew that Jenny had been partying a bit. Found out she tried heroin.
Most people don't know what to say about drugs, but we do. Visit us at drugfree.org.
My name is Haley. I have Fragile X syndrome. I work with Chartwells at Einstein's and FAU. I like being up front and interacting with students. The students are very nice and very hungry. Having a job is a big ticket for independence.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to disabilitieswork.employflorida.com.
We've all heard how military veterans adjusting to the civilian world may have certain issues.
30.
78.
If only everyone had this issue. No matter what challenge they face, Easter Seals is here for America's veterans.
Ever since I can remember, I've been intrigued by industrial design and the optimization.
Wait, that's passion? Ever since I can remember, my passion has been industrial design. We need 3D printers for Miss Adams' engineering program so that we are ready to solve 21st century challenges.
Impressive. Think It Up is a new initiative to support student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classroom today? Think It Up.
Are you a soccer mom or dad? Regardless of their age or experience level, when your kids play soccer or any other sport, there's one person on the sideline who is key to help recognize and seek medical care for sports-related concussion. It's you. You need to know the signs and symptoms of concussion, and you need to act if you think your child has been injured. Remember, when in doubt, sit them out. To learn more, go to cdc.gov/concussion. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004.
You're watching Good Morning Suncoast at 5:30.
Right now, we're keeping a close eye on Hurricane Michael's path as it continues to strengthen as it heads towards Florida's panhandle.
And here on the Suncoast, why many residents are concerned about beach erosion during this storm.
And Governor Rick Scott has now declared a state of emergency for 35 counties. The preparations underway across the state. Those stories and more right now on Good Morning Suncoast. Good morning, everyone. It's 5:30. I'm Jess Dowdrick.
And I'm Ray Collins. Glad you're with us. October the 9th. And John Scalzi will tell us now about how this hurricane might impact us later today and tomorrow.
Yeah, we're going to cover that in detail. Overnight last night, not a lot of changes occurred in the forecast philosophy or the structure of the storm. Amazingly enough, despite some very strong upper-level winds that would normally tear at a hurricane, it has maintained its structure. In fact, we've even got an explosion of some thunderstorm activity on the western edge of the center of circulation, which generally indicates a strengthening storm. Hurricane Hunter aircraft have been out there, checked it out, and have found that the eye wall does appear to be a little bit more ragged, perhaps because of some drier air that has kind of filtered in on the underbelly of the storm. It has also noticed that the central pressures and the speed of the winds has not changed all that much overnight. But this explosion of storms does indicate a strengthening system, and I think that when the next aircraft goes out there and investigates, they're going to find a stronger system there. Taking a look at the color-enhanced satellite imagery, you can see the explosion of thunderstorms around the center of circulation, and I suspect we'll probably have the beginnings of a Category 2 storm, especially when you look at the water temperatures that the storm is moving into. This is bath water. This is fuel for a hurricane, and Gulf water temperatures are running 2 to 3 degrees above where they normally would be at this time of year. As the storm lifts northward, it may mix some of this water and bring up some cooler water from below, so perhaps the next storm that may try to form in the Gulf waters might have a little bit more of a difficult time doing so. But this storm certainly will tap into that warm water. Category 1 storm now forecast to become a Category 2 and a Category 3 before making landfall. The forecast track has not changed all that much. The impact on us will be marginal compared to what they'll see in the panhandle of the state, where it's just going to be a terrible situation for them in terms of storm surge, wind damage, and not so much rainfall, but certainly wind damage right along the immediate coastline. We'll talk about the effects on us coming up in just a few minutes. Back to you.
All right, talk to you soon. Thank you, John. Checking first alert traffic. Perhaps not. Let's talk about the hurricane right now.
All right, states of emergency have been declared in Florida and Alabama this morning as Hurricane Michael grows stronger. Florida's governor is calling the storm monstrous.
Yeah, it could be the worst to hit the Florida Panhandle in more than a dozen years. ABC's Candace Gibson has the latest.
This morning, time is running out for millions of people bracing for Hurricane Michael as it barrels toward the Gulf Coast.
This is a massive storm. We've not seen anything like it in the Panhandle.
Michael could make landfall as a Category 3 storm Wednesday morning, packing a storm surge of 8 to 12 feet. The state declaring an emergency in 35 counties, activating hundreds of National Guard troops. Residents are filling sandbags, boarding up windows, and stocking up on supplies.
We weren't nervous last night when we went to bed, and then we woke up this morning and all of a sudden it was
well, it was first a Category 2, and now it's looking like it's going to be worse than that, so we're a little nervous.
Mandatory evacuations are now being ordered for parts of the Panhandle, but there are concerns that some of the shelters in the area won't be able to withstand the heavy winds. In a Facebook post, the Wakulla County Sheriff's Office warning no shelters will be open because the county's shelters are safe only for a Category 2 storm.
Every family must be prepared. Every family. Remember, we can rebuild your house, but we cannot rebuild your life.
And right now in the Gulf, cruise ships are altering their routes. Some oil and natural gas platforms are shutting down, and back on land, the Air Force is relocating aircraft at its base near Panama City to Ohio, far away from the storm zone. Candace Gibson, ABC News, New York.
Here on the Suncoast, people are keeping a close eye on Hurricane Michael as it makes its way up the Gulf Coast.
One of the biggest concerns is beach erosion. Marla Spence has more on that angle. Marla?
Well, Ray and Jess, the sandbags that the city of Sarasota is using is to protect Lido Beach from hurricanes and other storms. Those bags are known as trap bags. Now, in August, 500 tons of bags were placed in 4-foot-high bags on the beach in front of the dunes. Another 500 tons were also placed in front of Lido Pavilion and the pool area. Now, placing bags at those locations were in hopes of preventing future erosion and protecting beach facilities. Right now on Longboat Key, free sand and bags are being offered at the Broadway Street entrance to the beach. Also, parts of the northern end of town was just renourished last month with new sand.
Part of that was to help protect some of the private properties there in that location. We did it during storm season knowing that if we had a storm, we wanted to make sure we had some additional sand in that area. So I think that positions us well for this event.
This is hopefully temporary until they get going with the replenishment of the sand.
And officials from the town of Longboat Key, the city of Sarasota, and other communities here on the Suncoast say they will continue to monitor Hurricane Michael and decide if anything more will have to be done. Ray?
All right, thank you, Marla. Checking first alert traffic now. We've got our maps up first. Here's the scene in Manatee County. Look at that left side of your screen, a very unusual backup there, way out on Holmes Beach, northbound on Gulf Drive. So be aware of that in case you're out on Anna Maria Island. Otherwise, pretty clear in Manatee County. Checking farther south, here's the scene in the northern half of Sarasota County. Little red there on 41 southbound as you go from Bay Vista down toward Weber and Siesta Drive. And then our final map to the south will show just that that reoccurring icon on I-75, some debris on the road northbound 75 as you get around the Toledo Blade exit in the Northport area. All right, let's check our roving camera now. Here's the scene. Not a lot of activity. We've got a food truck there for you at University and 301. That is in Sarasota County, literally at the Manatee County line. That truck about to head westbound toward the Ringling Museum, or perhaps turn left, head south toward Sarasota. 5:37 right now on your Tuesday morning.
And breaking overnight, a shoe giveaway in California erupted into chaos. Rapper Fora promised to give away free shoes to a Hollywood shoe store to any fan that showed up. Several people were injured when a stampede formed in the gathering crowd. Officials say 10 people were hurt and 8 were taken to the hospital. None of the injuries are serious, with breathing problems and anxiety the primary complaints. The event had private security on hand, but the crowd overwhelmed the guards. Many of the people in the crowd appeared to be minors. Floridians who want to cast a ballot in next month's midterm election must register to vote today. The November 6th general election ballot will include statewide races for U.S. Senate, governor, and 3 state cabinet offices, along with 12 proposed constitutional amendments and congressional, legislative, and local contests. At the end of August, there were more than 13 million registered voters in Florida. Of those, nearly 4.9 million were registered as Democrats, while there were more than 4.6 million registered Republicans. Statewide turnout for the 2014 midterm election in Florida was 51%.
This year, the interest has been big. It's looking more like a general election in a presidential year than a general election in a primary.
Nearly 12,000 Floridians had already turned in vote-by-mail ballots. Right now, investigators are combing through evidence in upstate New York, trying to figure out what caused the deadliest transportation crash in the United States in nearly a decade. 20 people killed, 18 inside a limousine heading to a birthday party, and 2 pedestrians all caught in the chaos. Mary Maloney has the latest.
We investigate fatal crashes all the time, year round, but this one is, the magnitude of this one is different for us.
Chilling new details are emerging about the limousine, a modified Ford Expedition. According to New York's governor, it should have never been on the road after failing inspection just last month. The governor says the driver didn't have the proper license to be behind the wheel.
In New York State, a limo with 15 or more seats available, excluding the driver, falls under the definition of a bus and requires a passenger endorsement.
The focus for investigators now, the airbag control module, which acts like a black box for a car and can reveal details about the crash that remain a mystery right now.
We don't yet know the cause of the accident, if it was a vehicle malfunction, if it was a driver malfunction, driver error. That's part of the ongoing investigation.
The tight-knit community of Schoharie in upstate New York has been rocked by the deadly crash. Friends and family members of the victims say they're struggling.
It really makes you question your faith at a time like that. You know, how can God take away so many people at the same time and leave kids without parents?
I'm Mary Maloney reporting.
Also last night, over 1,000 mourners gathered for a candlelight vigil to show support for the families or loved ones they lost in Saturday's limousine crash. They lit 20 large candles for the 20 lives lost. Amanda Halsey was one of the victims. Her younger sister, Karina, said this about her sister.
She's my other half, and it's really hard for me to think about how I'll be able to go on without Amanda. I consider, like, I have a life with Amanda, and now I have a life without Amanda, and it's really hard to think about.
Karina says she last saw her sister a weekend before the crash when they took a day trip to Vermont with their mother.
Since its inception, Facebook has said it wants to bring the world closer together. And now it's taking the next step in achieving that aim by putting a camera in your home that watches your every move. It's releasing its own smart speaker called the Portal that will let you make video calls to other Facebook users. It's the first time the company would gain a physical foothold in people's homes.
And look at this, thousands flocked to Maine over the weekend for a pumpkin fest and regatta. Yeah, competitors carve out pumpkins, make it a floating device, and race down the river. Some even attach motorboats or motors to the pumpkin boat. It began as a joke 11 years ago, but now it's become a fun annual tradition. It draws about 10,000 spectators. It also raises money for area nonprofits. I'm not sure how those things are floating.
Yeah, it looks impressive.
Still ahead, a former president's daughter got married over the weekend. We'll have that story and some movie news on the way, but first.
We're taking a live look this morning over the city of Sarasota. It looks clear and things look good out there now, but that might not last for long. Meteorologist John Scalzi joins us now.
Yeah, I think tomorrow's going to be a different day entirely. Today will be very similar to yesterday. I think we'll have some gusty winds, breezy conditions at times, some showers brought in from the Atlantic coast across our region. These showers around the circulation of Michael will start to move closer to us during tonight and tomorrow. That's when we have our best chance of seeing some heavier pockets of rainfall. We are looking at some of the wave heights associated with Michael, and it is impressive. We've got some up to 30-foot waves surrounding the circulation of Michael. We'll talk about the forecast coming up in a few.
Blue 32, Blue 32, hot, hot. It's the Gettle Gridiron Challenge. The game's on to sell 2,000 vehicles. 12 teams compete for the #1 spot. Score a great deal at every Gettle dealership. Buy with 0 down. Make no payments for 90 days. Choose from 14 of your favorite brands, all on sale. Who will make it to the end zone? You decide. Rush to a Gettle location near you or visit Gettle.com. Gettle's got it.
You now have the power to prioritize your Facebook feed and get local news and information from the team you trust. Go to the ABC7 Sarasota page on Facebook. Give us a like, then click following and choose See First. That's it. Customize even more by choosing notifications. Choose breaking news, posts, live videos, anything you want to see in real time. Take control of your newsfeed and stay connected to what's happening in your community with ABC7 on Facebook.
Here we go. We're gonna go out there in the rain. Gonna get wet. All right, here we go. Okay, quick. Oh yeah, yes. So much fun. Mwah. We're getting so wet.
Who else has been taking your prescriptions? Keep your medicine and your family safe and secure. Mind your meds. To learn how we can help, visit the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids at drugfree.org.
My name is Stephen Jaffe. The law firm's name is Farmer Jaffe. One of the beautiful things about Julius is he's always smiling, and it becomes infectious. The fact that Julius has a disability has absolutely nothing to do with the quality of work that he's done. Just a great person you want on your staff.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to disabilitieswork.employflorida.com.
When it comes to drinking, what do you think moderation is? The U.S. Dietary Guidelines define moderation as up to 1 drink a day for women and up to 2 drinks a day for men. So what's a drink? The guidelines say a drink equals 12 ounces of beer, 5 ounces of wine, or a cocktail with 1.5 ounces of distilled spirits. Each contains the same amount of alcohol. Like to learn more? Visit drinkinmoderation.org.
Now your ABC7 First Alert Weather Forecast with meteorologist John Scalzi.
76-degree air temperature, wind speed still brisk, coming in east at about 13. Tomorrow, I think we could probably just about double that wind speed in places. And we'll be on the lookout for perhaps some severe thunderstorm activity in the afternoon. More on that in a second. We have a dew point value coming in at 74, so it's kind of a steamy start to the day. As we head through the afternoon, we'll watch our rain chances go up to about 20-30%. And then as we head into tonight, into tomorrow, our rain chances go up much more than that. There's our storm. Michael has continued to strengthen and have explosions of thunderstorms around its core during the last 24 hours. During the last several hours, Hurricane Hunter aircraft going into it have found that perhaps the eye wall has become a little bit more ragged, perhaps because some drier air is filtering in right in through there. But we're seeing these explosions of thunderstorms, which tend to indicate a strengthening system. So another aircraft is going in there now to check things out. As far as the forecast track goes, while you were asleep, nothing much has changed. Forecast track remains the same for a landfall probably tomorrow afternoon or evening in the Florida Panhandle with perhaps a Category 3 storm. It'll rapidly then move off the coast of South Carolina, most likely. Hurricane Michael. We're looking at 90-mile-an-hour winds. That remains unchanged. It has managed to sustain its strength, even though it has passed through an area that's had some incredibly strong wind shear. Wind shear that would normally, wind shear in other words, tearing winds aloft, which would generally tear a storm apart, or at least weaken it considerably. This has held its own, and it does look like it's strengthening perhaps to a Category 2 a little bit later in the afternoon. Forecast track is tweaked a little bit, basically the same. It remains well off our coastline. So our main threat from this storm are going to be some stronger winds right along the coastline, winds that don't necessarily do any structural damage, but can blow around tree limbs and such as that. Could see some power outages tomorrow, and it's certainly possible that we'll see some elevated tide, although storm surge forecasting is very difficult, and it depends on exactly the strength of the storm at the time and its location, the latitude and the wind speeds. But anywhere from a 1 foot above normal storm surge to perhaps as much as 4 foot above normal storm surge, especially for areas of Tampa Bay. That's where there is a storm surge watch up right now, meaning it's possible to get an elevated surge. The forecast track again takes it up through the Carolinas and then off the coast of the Mid-Atlantic by Friday. There's the circulation around the storm producing some fairly heavy rainfall in pockets. Some of that will gradually drift closer to us tomorrow, I think. But for today, just some scattered showers around, rain chance at about 30% or so. Tomorrow, that rain chance goes up to about, I'd say, almost 90%. Some of the storms will be moving very quickly around the outer edge of Michael, so that there is the potential that some of the storms could spin up a brief tornado. We see that frequently in the outer bands of hurricanes, and the Severe Storms Prediction Center has put our area in a marginal risk zone, with the higher risk zone being just to our north, up around from about Dunedin northward. But still, it's something we'll have to watch tomorrow. As far as the total wind speeds go, well, the probability of tropical storm force winds has decreased for us over the last 24 hours as the forecast track becomes more fine-tuned, and we're looking right now at probably around 20, maybe 30% chance of tropical storm force winds right along the immediate coastline. More like a 25 to 30 mile per hour wind sustained right along the coast, with gusts as high as perhaps 40 inland, about half those speeds probably. The forecast for us looks like this for boating today. Southeast winds at about 20 to 25 knots, with gusts as high as 40 during the overnight. Rough to very rough conditions by tonight through tomorrow morning, so obviously not a good time to be out on the water. We have props 11-foot seas. Okay, something a little different here with these high tides. These are only high tides that I'm showing you here. Today we have one at 1:39. Shouldn't be much of a problem. We'll be watching the one tonight at 1:08 and tomorrow afternoon at 2:28 in the afternoon. Those are the tides where we could see a little bit of storm surge. So the forecast over the next couple of days looks like this. 30% chance of showers today. Tomorrow, 90% chance windy storms around. Some of them could be stronger. And then Thursday, about a 50% chance. Then as the storm moves inland and to our north, we actually dry out, and it should be a pretty sunny weekend. Back to you.
All right. Thank you so much, John. And for the up-to-date weather updates on Hurricane Michael, don't forget to download our ABC 7 News app. Time now to take a look at your first alert traffic this morning. We start in Manatee County. Things overall are running smoothly. There is a little bit of a slowdown out on the Keys near the Holmes Beach area, so be alert if you're heading that way. Also, as you head toward I-75 in Manatee County, a little bit of a slowdown there. And in Sarasota County, things again running smoothly on I-75, a little bit of a slowdown on US 301, and then a little bit of a slowdown on Clark Road as you head off of I-75. So we head to South County. Now taking a look there, again, things running pretty smoothly at 5:51 on your Tuesday morning. Take a look at this. Former President George Bush's daughter, Barbara, tied the knot over the weekend. The family confirms she married actor-screenwriter Craig Coyne Sunday. Her father and grandfather, former President George H.W. Bush, escorted her down the aisle.
I'm glad to see that because her twin sister, Jenna, got married so many years ago. So
okay. You know more about the Bush family than I do.
I might. Twin sisters, and Jenna got married, as I said, and has kids already. 5:52 right now. We'll check the day's top news headlines after this. Stay with us.
Today, everyone is looking for more fashionable choices in flooring than ever before. And G. Fried has responded with a huge selection of carpets, tile, wood, laminate, and vinyl. Installed by a highly skilled team, G. Fried has got everything you're looking for and more. The next time you think about quality flooring, think G. Fried Flooring America. G. Fried Flooring America. Our world is at your feet.
Thank you. You got a king?
Go fish!
It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
I am the resident district manager on the FAU campus for Chartwell. Whenever I see Haley, I do not see a person with a disability. I see a person with extraordinary abilities. Haley is always smiling. She's always on time. She gives fantastic customer service and is always focused on any job that she's given.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to disabilitieswork.employflorida.com.
It's rainy season on the Suncoast. Storms can pop up at a moment's notice. Sometimes it's just rain. Sometimes it's much worse. When there's the potential for severe weather, you need to know fast. Trust ABC 7 First Alert Weather to get you the information you need right away. We focus on the storms that impact where you live, and we're committed to alerting you with important information as soon as we get it. When severe weather strikes, trust ABC 7 First Alert Weather. We're here for you.
I took my first handful of pills, and that's when all my priorities seemed to change.
He would ask to use the bathroom in other people's homes.
He just assumed that they would have medication.
He'd go in their medicine cabinets and steal prescription drugs.
I wish I knew really what these prescription pills were.
We were so naive about the whole drug thing.
These are all synthetic forms of heroin.
Keep your medication locked up because you'll never notice that a pill is gone.
Mind your meds. Learn more from the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
The skills you develop as a soldier in the Army National Guard can give you a head start on your career. Gain practical experience with technology and equipment that will give you a leg up in the civilian world. Learn critical leadership skills and to be part of a team. Serve your community and your country part-time while earning money for an education. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn about the paid training and career opportunities available to you in the Army National Guard.
Here are your headlines now. Moat Marine keeping a close eye on Hurricane Michael as it churns through the Gulf. Scientists aren't sure yet if it'll further disperse red tide or perhaps stir up more issues.
Plus, while all eyes are on Hurricane Michael as the storm approaches the Panhandle, back here at home, residents are concerned about further erosion it could cause for Lido Beach. The city of Sarasota is handing out sandbags in an effort to protect the beach and homes.
And today is the last day to register for next month's election. Voters will decide on a Senate race, a governor's race, and several other state and county positions, as well as amendment issues as well. Election Day is 4 weeks from today.
It's 5:55 this morning. We'll head over to meteorologist John Scalzi.
We continue to watch Michael strengthening as a storm. Its outer bands are becoming more and more visible. For today, it remains about 300 miles away from us, so its effect on us minimal today. We'll have an isolated shower or two this morning, later this morning, followed by scattered showers during the evening hours, about a 30% chance of rain. Tomorrow, much different situation. We'll talk about that coming up in a few minutes. Back to you.
Thank you, John. One full hour of news, traffic, and weather straight ahead right here on Good Morning Suncoast. We'll see you in 2 minutes.